Hey everyone, so we're going to be doing a deck profile here for Ancient Gears, but this is going to be a very interesting twist. As you can see by the thumbnail of the video, I am incorporating a bit of the train engine into this and seeing how it actually has been going. So far I've been testing this for a while. I did have a bit of high hopes for this particular variant, but things did turn out a bit more interestingly, and it's not always going to be great, but it does change up a few of the interactions that alter the build and playstyles. And I think let's just get started with the actual deck to better demonstrate what I am trying to convey here. So starting off with monsters, we are going to be playing only 2 copies here of Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. Definitely a very nice card, still is pretty much going to be acting as our main deck boss monster. Definitely very nice, but I felt that 2 was definitely more than enough. We're also playing here Ancient Gear Golem, only 1 copy. It might seem a bit more crazy to play 3 copies of it, but that's only in the best case scenario that you actually do have Ancient Gear fusions, and in this particular version there is no Ancient Gear fusions because I simply just can't afford it. Firstly, it's very hard to find, and secondly, it's also going to be just a really expensive card even if you do find it. So I think it's already gone up to about $70, so to be able to play that is definitely going to be a problem. On top of that, we are playing the train engine, so because of that, Gear Golem is only viable at 1. I am playing the Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragon. I thought it was just a nice addition to the actual deck itself. Very simple to bring out. Ideally, if you guys wanted to, you could just take this out and put in the Reactor Dragon, but it's another easy target to bring out via the effect of Gear Town, or even Fortress if this card is already in your graveyard or even in your hand. With that being said, we're moving on to the actual searches of the deck. We're playing 3 copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern. Wyvern is a very important card. Just make sure that you set your cards before you activate his effect, because after you add your cards, you cannot set until the end of your actual turn. For the rest of your turn, that is. So it is definitely going to be detrimental there. However, that being said, you just gotta know what you're doing. We're playing 3 copies here of Hunting Hound, deals 600 damage to your opponent on summon, which is not too bad at all. However, one of the key things is he is going to be that walking fusion summon monster, which is definitely going to be very important for the deck, allowing you to pretty much just make your big fusion plays without the aid of the actual fusion cards as well. In this case, Ancient Gear Fusion. If you don't have it, you could still just use Hunting Hound. Acts as the more budget pseudo variant of it. We're also playing 2 gearboxes as well as 2 copies of Gear Gadget. Both cards are very good for, I guess, adding more resources to your hand. Together with the Hunting Hound, you'll easily have 4 targets ready to go into your biggest monster, the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Very, very good there. But yeah, we're also playing the 1 copy here of Gear Frame. Reason why I wanted to play only 1 copy is because we don't have any Ancient Gear fusions in this particular deck because it's too expensive. So the only card we could really add is Gear Golem, plus another additional card which we'll eventually get to. But that's pretty much it for the Ancient Gear monsters. For the supporting monsters, we're playing 2 copies of Gold Gadget as well as 2 copies of Silver Gadget. I believe these 2 cards are going to be very good still, considering that you could easily just bring out any of these and just go into an easy rank 4. I think rank 4s, there's a particular one that's going to be very crucial for the deck, and I think that for this format, it's going to be I guess more needed than ever. So in this case, I want to be able to easily go into rank 4 XC summons as well, and not always rely entirely on my fusion summons. Alright, so for the train portion of the deck, we're playing 2 copies here of the Super Express Bullet Train. This is our extra addition to the deck. I did have high expectations for this card to be a lot better, but it turned out to be quite lackluster, to be honest. It's a nice card that's easy to summon if you have an Earth Machine type, But aside from that, its attack conditions are too difficult, and its grave effect is just a bit too slow. Had I had any Ancient Gear monsters that were level 10s, it would make for easy rank 10 Xyz plays, but aside from that, he is definitely slow, and he's really just that extra special summon material to allow you to go into potential link plays. Aside from that, I am seriously considering just not playing him in the deck anymore, but giving those extra link materials do give you a little bit of an extension for your plays, which is definitely very nice. And of course, we're playing the 2 copies here of Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. This card is also a very nice card here. Basically allows you to, on summon, whether it's normal or special summon, you could target an Earth Machine monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense with its effects negated. And also you could adjust the levels as well. So basically, if you have these 2 on the board, you could pretty much just go into your rank 10 plays. Of course, it's very unlikely you'll have that situation come up, in which case you're just going to have to work with the Ancient Gears you have, and I mostly just use him to again help me go into more rank 4 plays, because he special summons the Ancient Gears from the graveyard. But still, he is quite restricting, because for the rest of the turn you activate this effect, you pretty much can only attack with Xyz monsters, which is very restricting because your Ancient Gears are mainly to go into fusions, and even then you can't even attack with your main deck monsters. It's going to be a detriment. But these are the 2 particular trains I'm playing. I initially thought that they would be really good, and it was in my belief that with them being Earth as well, they could really supplement the deck and make it transcend to another level. Unfortunately, it didn't plan out as I had expected, so that's a lesson that I'll take into consideration the next time I play around with this particular engine here. So even then, I do recommend that you give this a go, because of the fact that it actually does open up more link plays and Xyz plays in the deck, and for that, it does actually make your opponent have a bit more trouble, because with a pure Ancient Gear deck, you're mainly just going for fusions. Your opponent knows exactly what you're trying to do here. With the bullet trains and the railroad stampedes, they actually do add a bit of unpredictability for your opponent to try and guess what you're trying to do, and because of that, you do actually get that small upper hand in this particular situation. Of course, I'm not saying that this deck can easily compete against meta decks. No, I actually have been taking on Shadows recently. One of my friends were building it, and this deck lost quite a bit to Shadows. So, very unfortunate there. I really thought it would be better, but in a casual format, this is definitely going to be something very viable indeed. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the monsters. Let's move on to the spells. Alright, so with spells, a lot of them is going to be very self-explanatory. We're playing 3 copies here of Ancient Gear Catapult. If you control no monsters, just destroy a face-up card you control, and you pretty much special summon any Ancient Gear, ignoring summoning conditions. Very good. Graveyard effect also allows you to pop your own cards as well to summon out a token, and you know, most of the Ancient Gear supporting spells, when they're destroyed, they will gain more additional effects, which is why it perfectly combos well here. Of course, we're playing 2 copies here of Ancient Gear Fortress. I would play 3 of these in a pure build, but since this is the train variant of it, I am only playing 2 of them, because I wanted to, I guess, fit in a few more extra things as well for the deck. We're, of course, still playing 3 copies of Gear Town. These are the particular combo cards that you'll play together in conjunction. It's definitely very, very effective to bringing out just 2 strong beat sticks, or just generating you the materials needed for your fusion summons, which is definitely very nice here, and as a result, Gear Town definitely helps out quite a bit there. It's just a matter of preference as to what ratios you want to try and work with in this particular scenario. But that being said, I am also playing the Overload Fusion as well as the Power Bond. If I had Ancient Gear Fusion, I would take out both of these and play the Ancient Gear Fusions instead, because the Ancient Gear Fusions are searchable via Ancient Gear Frame. However, these two cards still offer a bit of interesting variables to this particular scenario, in the sense that you could actually use cards on your field or your graveyard as materials for Dark Machine Fusion type. So it works very well there. And Power Bond, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It goes for the OTK plays of doubling up your fusion monster's attack and just pretty much having your opponent being unable to respond to you. As long as you have Fortress on the field, it keeps your cards protected. So these two fusion cards are the ones I'm playing as an alternative to Ancient Gear Fusion. But if you guys are actually lucky enough to have Ancient Gear Fusion, you could easily just play them instead of these. We're also playing a Monster Reborn, just really easy to bring back your monsters. We're playing Reasoning, very easy to just summon out your monsters from your deck. Your opponent won't really have that much of an easy time guessing the right levels, so chances are you'll be in a very good state. Two Twin Twisters. In this situation, it is a very good card. Against Shadows, not so much. I think to go up against Shadows, you're going to have to play Cosmic Cyclone. However, I will say that Twin Twisters is very effective against many other decks that are actually available in this particular format. Salamangreat are still a thing, and this is a very quick response to destroy as many of their resources as much as possible, as quick as possible. But there's also other things like Rockets or any Dragon decks in general, destroying their field spells such as Dragon Ravine as soon as you can, and also the World Legacy Guard Dragon as well. And Twin Twisters is very effective for that. However, you could also just play the Cosmic Cyclones, but spell and trap removal has become pretty much a staple in this particular format. Playing the One Urgent Schedule, just playing one of them. It is a very pricey card. I was just lucky to pull it in a particular pack, but it does help generate more materials out there, allowing you to go for either your Xyz plays or your Link plays. Otherwise, it will just add on more materials for your fusion summons, which is definitely very nice. I am playing One Day of Peace just to, I guess, help me out a bit so that nothing happens to me. And same thing applies for Cross-Dimensional Duel as well. Another card that actually allows me to, I guess, delay myself and protect my monsters so that they won't be vulnerable for a particular turn. And in exchange, I obviously take a bit of life, but it's not a big deal. It's merely just a resource here. So once the monsters come back, I can then go for my actual big final attacks there. However, that being said, I could easily take out these two for limiter removals. That is just another option for you guys to actually try out for the deck as well, because limiter removal is obviously at 3. However, that pretty much it sums up for the main deck, so I do hope you guys like this particular variant and just give it a go. It is definitely going to be something that you'll find very interesting. The playstyle is so different to the actual pure variant of it. Yeah, it will change your mindset on how things work, and it could actually improve you as well. Just because playing something that is, I don't know, I mean, you have certain expectations, but you don't really get that expectation satisfied. You do change up your whole mindset on how the deck will eventually be played out in the future. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to move on to the extra deck. Alright, so on to the extra deck. We're going to be playing 2 copies here of Ancient Gear, Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Very nice card. Playing 2 of them. I got this really damaged up ulti over here, but yeah, it's definitely just very nice as the centerpiece here. Yeah, very nice there. Pretty much will be brought out by a particular monster we'll get to soon enough, but we are also playing 2 copies here of Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. I used to play 3 of them. 2's more than enough because you have plenty of boss monsters in this deck, and he is pretty much the one card that really just ends your opponent completely, so definitely very nice here. The card that actually allows us to special summon out the Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem is the Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. This is a much simpler monster to bring out than the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, and also if something happens to it, you can just bring out the Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, which is going to be very nice as well. So yeah, these are the very key monsters of your fusions, of course, and they are the main bosses that typically will end games. We're also playing the 2 copies of Ancient Gear Howitzer as well. Not as amazing anymore because obviously, what can your deck really generate aside from, but that being said, it is unaffected by other cards' effects, so your opponent can't really do anything unless unless they actually try to destroy it by battle. So yeah, definitely a really effective card still, but only at a very minimal amount. I find it as the card that I go into the least in this particular scenario now, and I only have these particular ones to go with as the main OTK pieces of the deck. We're also going to be playing cards such as Gear Gigant X, number 59 Crooked Crook, and Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. You'll be very surprised that, these cards aren't typically well known to people, or maybe the Gear Gigant X, but these two are definitely going to surprise people. Crooked Crook allows you to destroy your spells and traps, triggering off your gear towns or your ancient gear fortresses. And the Iron Wolf allows your monsters to attack directly, otherwise it also will float into or search into your other level 4 machines if it's destroyed, but very easy target to go into. Now there are 3 cards missing because this is only 12 as you can see here, so actually no, 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, there's only 11 cards, I don't know what I was saying, yeah, there's only 11 cards here. The remaining cards you're playing will be Cross Sheep, because obviously you're playing fusions, but you're also playing XCs, so Cross Sheep will work really well for this. I just don't have Cross Sheep just yet. You're also going to be playing Mrs. Radiant, and then you're also going to be playing 2 copies of Abyss Dweller. I think Abyss Dweller is going to be very important, particularly against Shadows, so definitely be careful there and try to get yourself 2 copies of it. I just gotta find my copies of Abyss Dweller, and I think I'll be ready for this format. I will be making a new variant of this deck, so what this means is I won't be making test hands for this particular variant of it. I'll just let you guys explore it, because this particular version, since it's not a definitive type of build, it really serves no purpose for me to do test hands for it. Instead, I'll be making a pure build of Ancient Gears, and I'll make test hands for that particular video, and this particular version of the deck will pretty much just be a supplement to the actual pure variant I'll be putting out later down the line. So I hope you guys are excited for that particular video to come out, but in the meantime, I do hope you guys enjoyed this particular build, and you guys give it a go. Definitely leave a bunch of feedback, whatever you think about it, and if you like this video, definitely share it to everyone else who might be playing this deck, because obviously we have a particularly expensive card, Ancient Gear Fusion. We want to find as many alternatives as possible to having such a difficult card to find or a very expensive card to buy. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.